The pressure builds on two parachute sides at the wrong end of the championship. Is something going to give at Portman Road on Friday night? Join us as we preview Ipswich Town versus Sheffield United here on the Blue Monday podcast. Welcome to the Prematch show. Joining me, as always, to give us his wisdom ahead of the big game on Friday night, Seb Brown. And it's good to be back, isn't it, Seb? We bemoaned not having league football. I'm not a fan of international football, albeit the Serbia game was better than the Andorra game, wasn't it, for England? But it's good to have football back. And it's a big one on Friday, isn't it? We've kind of put in the title Under Pressure. Maybe more the opposition dugout than the home one, but still, neither team wants to find themselves down this way at this start of the season. And yeah, someone's got to make something happen tomorrow, haven't they?
It's got a big game feel, hasn't it? You know, I think we discussed on the flagship show with Mikey at the weekend so many memories from games at night time in the promotion season. Obviously, Southampton and the 4-3 Rotherham game, and obviously Coventry away. So it's got that big kind of game vibe. I remember a similar build up to the Sunderland game, the ones at 5:30 just after January, was it? And we've been in a bit of a lull of form. Obviously, we had issues with injury and players joining at the end of the January window, needing to bed them in. It's kind of got similar vibes to that. And hopefully, obviously, the result will be the same. And yeah, you can't beat Portman Road under the lights. I can very rarely get to the midweek one, so I'm very, very excited about tomorrow.
I was going to say there's definitely an atmosphere of vibe around Portman Road under the lights. So we look forward to that. Hello to everyone in the chat. We see you. We're pleased to see you again after Derby was a pre-record because of the transfer window, wasn't it? So we
Marcelino Nunez bumping us to a pre-record.
Fair enough, right? I think we'll hold our hands up on that one, but it's good to see you again. So let's say hello to we've got Herfy99. Greetings from Mexico. Found a sports bar showing the game at 2 p.m. 3 points, please, lads. And hello to Michael's with us. Philip's here too. Hello to Rob. Great news on your medical news there. We'll keep that in the chat there. But good luck on your recovery and good to hear that's positive steps. Good to see Colin with us as well. David is here. We're sharing weather reports. Dark and chilly, 11 degrees. David W. Good to see you with us. Matt is here. Streaky's here. One of our top tier members. Paul is here. Yeah, good to see everyone. Alex as well, who I think gave us some inside info on Nunez as well. So that was thank you to, there you go, proving it. There's the flag. Sunny Santiago. Thank you. Nick's here. Neil's here. Goodness me, all the big hitters. Great to see so many of you. The A team, says Rob. Not for us to say, is it? Not for us to say, Rob, but we appreciate you.
Parking and Nicky Forster, apparently.
Yeah, which I didn't really get that, but we've decided that one who's who. So we'll leave you to draw your own conclusions. Before we talk about Sheffield United, which is what we're here to do, let's do a bit of a recap on. I've bemoaned the international break, but let's at least summarise what the Ipswich Town interest in the international break. Seb, you take us through it.
Yes, this is from the weekend. We kind of surmised who'd done what on the flagship show on Sunday, and this is the games that have happened midweek this week. Dara O'Shea, Jack Taylor, and Chio Ogbene. I know he's not our player, but he will be talked about tonight. They all started for the Republic of Ireland in their defeat away to Armenia. Not good at all. Casey McAteer came off the bench. Sammy Smodic obviously withdrew from the squad after the first game at the weekend, and yes, he is doubtful for the game tomorrow night, according to the pre-match presser. So we will discuss his possible replacement later on. George Hurst was an unused sub for Scotland away at Belarus. He got a few minutes in the end of the game against Denmark, wasn't it? But he didn't come off the bench in midweek, so he should be nice and fresh for the weekend. And the wonder kid, Sindre Waller Egele, he got, was it 2 assists and a goal, I think, for the Norwegian under-21s.
Everyone getting very excited at the clips on socials, weren't they, on that one?
Yeah, we've basically signed the best young player ever. So very excited to see him probably on the bench tomorrow night, looking to make his debut. An excellent kind of appearance for him. So yeah, a handful of international caps. Everyone should have been back yesterday, recording this on Thursday. Everyone should have been back on Wednesday, I think McKenna was suggesting. And yeah, hopefully apart from Smodic, all reported back good to go for Friday night.
Yeah, and Smodic might make it. Sounds like a swollen ankle, as you say. So might be in contention. We'll see. And just very quickly, our friend Colin in the chat, first game of the season tomorrow, and that is how you know we will win, because they're waiting for Colin to turn up and turn on the style for Colin. So great to see that you're making it back to Portman Road, and hopefully 3 points to welcome you back. ITFC women kicked off their season. We did a pre-match special for that last week. It was always going to be a tough one, and so it proved away at Southampton. He recruited really strongly. It was kind of one of those ones where you hoped you kind of caught them as they're still getting up to speed and gelling. We talked all about that, didn't we, for the men's team? But no such luck. And to be fair, goals that were largely avoidable, set pieces, and a little bit of poor marking, a little bit of issues that could be avoided, could be worked on, certainly. So good experience, get that out of the way. But a very important game, the first game at Colchester on Sunday, 2 p.m. against Nottingham Forest, fellow promoted side. They also were beaten last time out, albeit 2-1 to Newcastle isn't a terrible result. They Forest have recruited well, so it's going to be a tough one. 1,000 tickets sold for Sunday afternoon. So if you want to join me and the 1,000 other people supporting the Tractor Girls, head to itfcwomen.colchesterstadium.com, where you can purchase a season ticket, or you can pay as you go, and do get behind the girls. It's a big season, and we want to make sure they're the right side of the line when it comes to the end of the season, and stick around and establish themselves at tier 2 level, and hopefully go from beyond there even higher. Sheffield United then, Seb, we're into the business pretty early doors, so efficiency is what we're about tonight. There's so much stuff happened behind the scenes. We'll talk about the manager, we'll talk about recruitment, we'll talk about exits, we'll talk about tactics as we usually do, but it feels like it's the kind of question that you're going to come back with me like it's a bit of both. It's a bit of everything, Rich. It feels like there's lots of stuff at play at Sheffield United that's causing them hassle, but is there a sense like us that one result and suddenly the rocket ship might take off, to quote Mark Ashton?
Yeah, I think so. I'm getting kind of Ipswich Town 2003, 2004 vibes. Did we lose like the first 4 games of the season, and then I think we got a point somewhere, and then we beat Wimbledon 4-1 or something. Alan Armstrong came back into the seed, and then we went on a bit of a run. I can see similar vibes to that, because if you look at the data, you look at the stats, I totally appreciate football is not played on spreadsheets or graphs or tables, but their data is certainly not a side that is bottom of the league. They are bottom. They have 0 points from the 4 games played so far. Ruben Sellers also lost to Birmingham in the first round of the League Cup, so he has lost his first 5 games in charge. It's not a happy home life. I'm sure we'll use that quote from the office on several occasions tonight. The fan base are not happy. Weird things around recruitment in the summer. And I guess in the wings, you've got this kind of club legend of Chris Wilder, who, an excellent season last season, literally taken away from them with the very last kick of the footballing season. And I think as long as he's kind of there in the wings, there's always going to be this question mark over, do they just get him back in to try and get the band a bit back together and try and push on up the table? And I don't think that uncertainty is necessarily kind of helpful for anybody, but the Ruben Sellers era has started really poorly. I don't think he's just solely to blame, but it started incredibly poorly. And, you put the caption up at the start about a manager being under pressure. I think he really is, because there's quite a few whisperings. If he does lose to us tomorrow night, that'll be 6 games in a row he's lost. And there are rumours that he might well be dismissed.
Yeah, Paul has mentioned it. Rob has mentioned it here too. I just think, and we'll talk about the extent of the recruitment, the strategy behind it is a separate debate. But they've done a lot of ins and outs this summer, and to give a new manager 5 games to figure it out just feels pretty brutal. But that's the business. And is it their last year of parachute payments this season too? So
yeah, they only 1 league up, so 1 year up, so you only get two years, don't you?
So there's that pressure to perform there. But you say club legend in terms of Chris Wilder. There were moments towards the end of that last season where they really could have done better, should have done better. I remember the Plymouth away game, for example. There's a couple of games towards the end of the season. Obviously, the playoffs is a little bit of a different art, isn't it, to get through those games? But still, in terms of the squad they had on paper, and we'll talk about the players that are still there, I don't think it's unreasonable to have expected more from Chris Wilder's team. So I think the decision kind of makes sense from the outside. I'm sure Sheffield United fans, if you're in the chat and you've got a view, let us know. But if you're bringing a new man, you've got to give him time, haven't you? We'll see. Hopefully we ramp up the pressure on Friday. Do you want to take us through the state of play? Because it's not happy reading, is it?
Played 4 in the league, lost 4, scored 1 goal on the opening weekend of the season, conceded 7. That opening weekend was a 4-1 defeat to Bristol City. That's the side that they beat 6-0 on aggregate in the playoffs at the end of last season. Since then, it's been 3 successive 1-0 defeats to Swansea, Millwall, and last time out against Middlesbrough. As I mentioned, they also lost in the League Cup to Birmingham. That was a 2-1 defeat. Away from home, obviously, with having scored no points, is 2 defeats. And they've not had a shot on target away from Bramall Lane so far this season. And I think that's one of the major issues. You know, at the end of the Middlesbrough game, we'll discuss what happened last time out. The fans are there in the away end. Ruben Sellers is on the pitch with the players, kind of applauding them, etc. And they're just chanting for Chris Wilder. And you know, if you're going away from home, you're seeing no shots on target for successive games. You probably had lofty aspirations at the start of the year in terms of challenging for the top 2, or certainly the upper echelons of the playoff places. You can kind of understand their frustrations, can't you?
Yeah, and you let's be frank, you'll have been ripped off to go to an away day. We will probably be charging them 40 odd quid tomorrow, won't we? Blimey. So as that expectation, that ambition to get back there is very much a play. But it's these binary results, isn't it? 0-1s basically across apart from the early defeat to Bristol City, there was the opening weekend, wasn't it? Which felt like a defensive disaster. At least they've shut up shop somewhat, but they can't stop those odd goals like we can't. I mean, it's very similar to us, you know, can't put the ball in the back of the other end of the field. At least we've been able to do that as many times as we've let goals in, but it's silly goals and silly moments that are kind of costing them. And I say, either you figure that out or someone else comes in and does that job for you. Before we get too far, we have missed out our feature bit of both. Do you want to embarrass me in front of everyone and give a player from Ipswich Town pass that's played for both teams?
Let's make you squirm. So this is the part where I give Rich 5 clues, getting progressively easier, and he has to guess the player that has represented both us and this week's opposition.
Can I add a new feature to this, which is I can have a free hit before you give me a clue to see if I get a hole in 0?
Sure. Guess.
John Stead.
Wrong.
It's going to be my answer every week.
Right, move on. Right, scored 62 goals in 148 appearances for Ipswich Town in all competitions. Make sure you hide the chat so you can't cheat.
By the way, have you set a parameter for the era? Am I thinking post?
I think, didn't we come up with an agreement?
Sky.
It had to be post. Was it post relegation in '96? Was the rule, wasn't it?
Possibly. Okay, 62 goals.
Mm-hmm. Well,
it's got. Did David Johnson play for Sheffield United?
Shit. Yeah, he did. Yeah, you.
Obviously, Marcus Stewart didn't play for him. Richard Naylor didn't, I don't think. Scully didn't. Yeah, man.
I thought you'd have no chance of getting that.
I didn't know. Honestly, it was a punt that he played. Someone said Marcus Bent. That was a good shout. Yeah, some good shouts.
He was second on my list. I thought I finally got a reason to mention David Johnson legitimately.
That amount of goals
on one of our podcasts.
So Jordan's mentioned McGoldrick. McGoldrick wouldn't have got 60 odd goals for us, would he? I know he played a lot of games. Bent's a good shout, Hamish. I hadn't thought that far ahead.
Bent wouldn't have got 62 goals. He only played 2 seasons, didn't he?
So there you go. You could have limited the choice just on the goal stat. That's bravado on your part, trying to show off because you love David Johnson, and we always have an argument over him versus Marcus Stewart. It's come back to haunt you. The John Stead, David Johnson situations come back to haunt you.
Anyway, I'll be honest, when you said John for your first guess, I thought, oh no, he's going to get it on a hole in one here. But
so what did he do for Sheffield United? I have no idea what he did.
He made 4 appearances. He was on loan from Forest to Sheffield United in spring 2005. But I was going to say he played for 3 other clubs in between the two. Clue number 3, inducted into the Hall of Fame for Ipswich Town in 2025. You would have got it on this one. Joined November 97, left January 2001. You can pretty much plot the decline of the club since that point. I was going to mention being criminally overlooked in the early days of 2000, 2001, despite impressing in the opening 5 games with 3 assists and a goal wrongly disallowed.
Shout out for Jono.
But we never got that far.
No, ruined your feature. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
Yeah,
thanks.
There you go. The chat is loving it, by the way. There you go. It's rare that I get some love from the chat. Thank you, everyone. David Johnson, 1 or 2. We are going to 90s onwards, mid 90s onwards is what we're going with, isn't it? So, and David W, this is why. I mean, he says you plural. I think he means me singular. But anyway, last season, just recap us before we get too far ahead of ourselves.
A stellar season, finished 3rd on 90 points. They also had a 2-point deduction for financial matters. So they actually won 92 points across the season. But completely fell apart and wobbled right towards the end of the season. Lost 4 out of 5 games in April against Oxford, Millwall, the Plymouth one you mentioned, where didn't Wilder front up with a Plymouth player walking off the pitch, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, it was a little bit naughty, wasn't it?
And lost to Burnley. Obviously, Burnley, therefore, and Leeds went up automatically on 100 points. It was a 6-0 playoff semi-final aggregate win over Bristol City. Player sent off in the first leg, 3-0, then 3-0 at Bramall Lane as well. And then a 2-1 defeat to Sunderland in the playoff final. 95th minute winner for Sunderland after a Kiefer Moore error. They were obviously 1-0 up very early on. Did they have a goal disallowed? I think they did, didn't they? Harrison Burrows had a goal disallowed, if I remember rightly, as well. And that would have made all the difference.
I think. VAR
yeah, it was correct, yeah. And yeah, like I said, literally the whole season was taken away from them in the very last kick of the season, 95th minute. It's a defeat. I think there is a certain amount of sort of a hangover from last season, perhaps. But yeah, an excellent season. But the board is ruthless. They were taken over in December 2024. When takeovers go through, we know that new owners like to appoint their own people, and Chris Wilder simply was not the appointment of this new board, and they kind of, kept him to the end of the season. And then 3.5 weeks after the playoff semi-final defeat, they act, and a statement is released. Chris Wilder is gone. A statement is released. Ruben Sellers has entered the building.
Yeah, worth noting. Trevor's put it here that Sheffield United, I think on the balance, should have won that playoff final. As I mentioned, though, the damage is done in April, isn't it? Let's be clear.
Yeah.
You don't if you can't beat or get points against Oxford, Millwall, Plymouth, Burnley apart. I think wasn't that quite a big chunky win for Burnley, if I remember right. I think they were a little bit of a low ebb at that point, Blades at that point. But Oxford, Millwall, Plymouth, that's the run of games where, yeah, you've got to do better than that. And that's probably what's cost them there. But you say you go to the playoffs, you do really well against Bristol City, don't you? I mean, that was such a non-event in the end. Good goal in the second leg, was it, from O'Hare? But yeah, it's not a lottery, is it? As Ben would hate me saying that, but it's, yeah, you leave too much up for chance on a day like Wembley with so much pressure, so much external variables that you can't control. So yeah, difficult situation. Do you want to briefly talk about Borough?
Yeah, last time out was a 1-0 defeat away at Middlesbrough. Tommy Conway got the goal halfway through the second half. Ben Godfrey left loads of space open. Who'd have thought it, down the right-hand side? And it's like 3 passes, and Conway's in and rolls the ball past Michael Cooper in the goal. They should have equalised in stoppage time. Sam McCullum, ex-Norwich, left back / left wing back, has a golden chance at the far post, but blazes over, cannot hit the target. As I said, no shots on target away from home so far this season. And then the scenes at the end where the players and the manager are applauding the fans, but they are singing for Chris Wilder to kind of voice their discontent. And then Sellers comes out after the game and says, my future is out of my hands. I will go home tonight. I will come into work tomorrow. I'll keep doing the best I can, etc. They're the kind of things you kind of hear from managers when they kind of know that the stuff isn't great. Let's be honest. Yeah,
quick one from Jordan. What reaction does Godfrey get tomorrow? Former budgie, top 3 worst loan. I mean, not sure.
Alan Partridge shrug, isn't it? I think made no impact last year. Unfortunately, shame, because he could have done. He ticked a lot of boxes when we signed him. If you can get past the Norwich thing, I was kind of thinking an athletic, experienced Premier League defender, happy days, but didn't do anything, did he?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see whether he even features. You're expecting a bit of rotation, aren't you? More on that later. We talked about the boss, the current boss, a lot. Do you want to give us the profile on Ruben Sellers?
Yeah, so only been in charge since June. Obviously lost all of his games. He had 6 months in charge at Hull. That's where he was recruited from. So Hull bring him in from Reading. He was doing really well with Reading. They were 6th in the league, in League One. And you've got to bear in mind all the off-field issues and players not getting paid and fan protests and player sales. So he did a really good job at Reading. Hull poached him. He got the job done at Hull. That's fair to say, isn't it? They didn't go down. They stayed up on goal difference on the very last day of the season. He won 9 out of the 28 games I think he was in charge from. So, you can look at it on one hand, not really kick them into life, but equally they didn't go down. They were on the right side of the line through goal difference when it mattered. They dispensed with him. I think he signed like a 2 or 3 year deal, but they move him on. And Sheffield United snap him up. Previous managerial role in the Premier League at Southampton, hired as the assistant manager to Ralph Hasenhüttl, and he took charge when he left before Nathan Jones. And then when Nathan Jones left, he was put in caretaker charge till the end of the season, and then dismissed when I've forgotten the guy's name. Ross Martin replaced him in the early.
Linked?
Sorry,
was he linked?
I think he might have been in the conversation. Yeah, he didn't pull up any trees when he was in charge, but he's kind of he's fashionable, isn't he? He's young, he's trendy, he wears a black polo turtleneck thing, so therefore he looks quite cool. So that's probably maybe why he was linked with some of these clubs. Fair play to him. He began his coaching career at the age of 16. He's coached all over Europe: Spain, Greece, Russia, Norway, Azerbaijan, and Denmark. So he's a bit of a student of the game. And I know he started awfully, but I think he's quite a decent manager. I mean, Southampton aside, you can't really judge him for there. I thought he did a really good job at Reading. The stuff going on at Reading off the pitch and the distractions must have been a nightmare to deal with, but he did well there. Hull, he got him across the line. He did the job he was brought in to do. They stayed up. So I know the fans are chanting for Chris Wilder and they're very unhappy with him, but I think I've seen enough to suggest that he's probably a decent appointment. And if he can get a little bit of time and just get a result from somewhere, he could potentially, do well for them. I don't think he's a bum appointment. Sometimes you see managers move in, don't you? And you think that ain't going to work. That's just not going to work at all. I don't get that vibe with him. I think he's a decent coach who maybe just needs a little bit of time.
Yeah, I agree with you. Hopefully it happens for him after Friday, but you kind of worry that, as we've heard, the rumors suggest that maybe if it doesn't go his way on Friday, that might be it, which would be really sad, especially if it's back to Chris Wilder, isn't it? Rinse, repeat on that situation. History-wise, Seb, we've had some really good nights against Sheffield United, haven't we? And under the lights. Do you want to give us the head-to-head record and some key moments from Ipswich Town history that you remember?
Very, very close. 23 wins for Town, 26 draws between the two, and 22 wins for Sheffield United. Last time was a Saturday kickoff on Under the Lights, 1-1 draw in December 2018. Ellis Harrison scored his only goal for Town. I think it deflected from the edge of the area. And I think it was the week after we beat Wigan or Rotherham, one of the first wins that season under Lambert. But yeah, I can't remember too much about that one. I'm not going to lie to you. Some memorable games. Blue Monday Rewind has been out this week for top tier members. They focused on the epic 3-2 comeback in 2003. This is the first year down in Division 1. The Dale Roberts game, obviously, he sadly passed a few days before. Darren Ambrose and Darren Bent instrumental in that win. Pablo Caniago sent off in the first half, down to 10 men, 2-0 down. Won it 3-2, an absolutely epic game. I remember a 5-1 demolition in the year we narrowly missed out, the promotion, the 2004-2005 season. That was certainly under the lights. I remember that one. And obviously the playoff semis in the late 90s with Tarico and the kind of sideshow that went on there. So there are, a lot of memorable games between the two, a lot of goals between the two as well in these games under the lights. So hopefully we'll see a repeat tomorrow night. Yeah,
I remember one of my early memories of missing out on a big night at Portman Road, which obviously went against us because we lost on goal difference in the playoffs, was that Nicholas Goodmanson game. I think the guys talked about that on Rewind as well, but I could hear the cheer when he scored from our house, which was 2 miles away. The wind was blowing in the right direction up the top of the hill. And I remember hearing that noise and thinking, wow, I wish I was there. And then, a few big nights. Were you at the 3-2 game? I wasn't at the 3-2 game.
I was at uni.
That was our first year at university, wasn't it? So
I had it on Radio Suffolk via dial-up internet or something.
Missed it out. Should we do a couple of lineup quizzes? I'm going to hide the chat again. I've got one in mind. The clue is the shirt that I'm wearing for the uninitiated. Should we start with me? Shall I test your knowledge first? 98-99, last game of the season. I'll give you the Sheffield United goal scorer because I can remember who it is, which is George Donis. But Ipswich Town chasing for that elusive automatic promotion spot with Bradford on the final day of the season. We are one game on Sky, but Bradford are in pole position. The game at Molineux that ebbed and flowed, and a false alarm goal cheer towards the end that made us think that it might be possible, but sadly not. Can you give me that team from 98-99, Seb?
This should be quite straightforward. So
there's some big names in it.
Is it a 4-4-2, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
Richard Wright in goal.
Correct.
Fabian Wilnis.
Yep.
Mowbray.
Yep.
Venus.
Yep.
Clapham.
Yep.
Holland and Magilton.
Yep.
Kieran Dyer, just before he leaves.
Yep.
John Owen Scowcroft.
Yep. And on the other side is someone else who's going to leave. Unpopularly so.
Bobby Petter.
Bobby Petter. Very good. Do you remember?
Yeah,
the
I think he
goal
brought
scorers?
that. I think he played the same team in the second leg against Bolton as well. He kind of shifted from the back three to go more attacking of a 4-4-2, if I remember rightly. And I
Well, it
remember
worked,
if you've got the
didn't it?
season review, watch it. It's epic because Sheffield United, I think, hit the post and Clapham clears off the line as
Mm.
Bradford go 1-0 down, and Portman Road, reduced capacity, 22,000 back in the day, but Portman Road is going crazy. It's brilliant. It's proper sort of like goosebumps on your hand moments.
I'll put. I think I've posted Magilton's goal at least, but I think I might have put all of them on my X page, so I'll repost that. But yeah, do you remember the goal scorers? 4-1 victory.
I remember Naylor getting the last one, took it around the keeper. Magilton, you just mentioned. Did
Goal
Kieran
from
Dyer
Magilton, wasn't it?
Did Kieran Dyer chip the keeper?
Dyer definitely got a goal. Yep,
I
and
remember those three.
Scully was the other one. So the goals were
right.
shared around. But yeah, decent goal from Magilton, wasn't it? And he fist pumped the south stand, and you and I looked at each other across the south stand and the west stand, and we can do this. And no, sadly not. Where are you going to take me? Yeah,
I will take you to the game I previously mentioned, the 5-1 demolition in 2004. I think it was October, November time. So this is the year.
I'm just going to see if people have what the chat said. We've ignored the chat, Seb, but Neil's got right. He's got Tarico, which I think
Tarico was sold at the start of that season with Matthew.
Correct. There you go. Hamish, the 4-1 game in 99 featured a Donis goal, which wasn't given at 0-0. Clapham cleared the ball when it was, there you go. That's what you said. And then Donis actually scored in real life. What else have we got? Scoey from The Universe Doesn't Care. That's great username, isn't it? There you go. Good. Right. It's my turn to embarrass myself, isn't it?
2004, 2005, under the lights. Neil Warnock is the manager. Joe Royle is our manager. The year we came so close. It's 4-4 effing 2. Go.
Is this the reverse fixture of the one that features in the Neil Warnock documentary where him and Joe Royle are arguing? And
no, that's the 1-1 at the end of the season before. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. He's giving you everything, Joe. Right.
There's a great quote from Warnock after this where the scoreline 5-1. Warnock comes out and says, "That's the last time I'll ever come here and try and play football." There
you go. And so it proved to be. So this is we've done one of these a few weeks ago, so I should get this right. So I'm going to do a Seb. Start from the back, work my way through the front. Kelvin Davis in goal. Really?
That's why I chose it, because I knew you'd do this, yeah.
Help. Well, I'll have to skip then, won't I?
He's on the bench. Lewis Price. I don't know why. I don't know why Lewis Price started the game. Kelvin Davis is on the bench, so he can't be injured. Flexed
by Big Fat Joe there. I just want to play my reserve keeper. Fair dues. Okay. Look, wow. I've already lost, haven't I? There you go. No point. Matt Richards.
Nope.
Who's the left back?
Who's the player playing out? A player playing out of position.
Right. Well, because I've got.
He also played in the team I just mentioned.
DeVos and Naylor.
Yeah.
And then someone like Diallo.
Diallo was right back. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm missing the left back.
Who's the right back, but shunted over.
That's not. I've had 2 fails and my brain's completely gone to mush. I might need to start at the front end and work my way back. Ben and Cucci surely up front, right?
Yeah, you got the centre backs, you got the centre halves. Yeah.
Tommy Miller in midfield. Is it so? Last time it was Kevin Horlock was the other midfielder. Was he in there? Okay, good. Is Magilton still around? Got to be. Yeah. And I'm missing someone from the midfield, and I'm missing the left back.
Yeah. Left back was in the team I just mentioned.
What, Vilnius still around, is he?
Okay, shifted across,
Okay.
And then the left midfielder, excellent at swimming and an absolutely brilliant
Westy, he scored, didn't he? Of course he did.
Yeah,
I've posted those. Is that the one at halftime where he did the challenge with Karen Pickering? Do you remember that? He did a swimming challenge and then they did a penalty shootout. Someone in the chat will confirm that for sure. We talked about him. Talked about that in our interview with Westy a couple of seasons ago. We've got. Here's what the chat has to say. Naylor says, tick for that one. DeVos, tick for that one. Hamish has gone Kooky, Bent, Westlake. Davis, wrong. DeVos, Naylor. Yeah. Ambrose, no. Unsworth, no. Yes, it's more difficult than you think, folks. Alex Jenkins got Fab. Curry, no. Price and Supple with a dark time, says Joe Kirk. Wilderness, we've got Wilderness and a Westlake. Clacton Boy. Can someone confirm if that was do a Google search, see if it's still on the Evening Star website? Ian Westlake versus Karen Pickering. It might not be that game, but I'm going to put it out there and see what happens. But good. Well, I've undone all my good work from the bit of both competition right at the start, won't I? Let's take a break, shall we? And then we'll come back, actually, rather than jump straight back into the discussion point on present day Sheffield United. We'll come back and talk about a recruitment strategy that has, in Seb's words, it's a swear word, really. Not happy with it. We'll come back and understand why in a bit.
Blue Monday is brought to you in partnership with Atwell Solicitors, your ideal legal partner for property and business law. Whether you're buying a home, starting a business, or just need legal guidance, our dedicated team has got you covered. Trust our award-winning customer service team to handle your legal matters with care and expertise. Find out more at atwells.com or visit us at our offices in Ipswich, Colchester, London, and our new location in Woodbridge.
Thank you to Atwells for their support of the channel as a whole this season, and our friends at One Stop Badges too. You can find out more about both by clicking the links in the description. Do you want to use your naughty words, Seb, about Sheffield United's recruitment or not?
I don't know if we'll get in trouble, so I won't. But yeah, basically, I was going to play a game here with Rich as well, just to keep kind of winding him up tonight. And so they came out with this thing in not even the summer, the winter before, I think, that they were going to use an AI model to help them recruit players. And when I was listing the key players that have arrived, I kind of got two very definitive lists. It was very much that's definitely an AI purchase, and that's very much screw it, let's just go and recruit somebody who's played a shitload of games in the Championship and see how we get on. So I was going to list some names and see which column you would put them under, but I think the names might speak for themselves. So Nils Zetterstrom, a 20-year-old centre-back, 3 million quid from Malmo.
Oh, we all know about him. No? Okay, I'm going AI on that one. Yep, next.
E.G. Ukakai, a right forward, 20 years old, 500 grand from the Bulgarian Premier League.
Okay, yeah, from the Bulgarian, do you say, league?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's AI. Keep going. Yep.
Ben Mee, 35 years old from Brentford.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's F it. Let's just sign an old boy. Yep.
Mihail Polendakov, a right back, 18 years old, 500k from Septemvri Sofia.
Yeah, I'm sensing the theme. Do you want to give the rest of them?
My sarcasm?
Yeah, I'm getting it now. Yeah.
Danny Ings has joined as well, 33 years old from West Ham. Mark McGuinness, a name familiar to ourselves, 24 years old, has joined from Luton. Ben Godfrey, I've already mentioned, has joined on loan from it's not Napoli. Where's he? I can't remember. Atalanta. Japhet Tanganga is a good buy from Millwall, I would suggest, 26 years old. Louis Barry, formerly of this parish in the Paul Cook era. You were a fan of his, weren't you?
I had really high expectations, and sadly, he hardly played, which didn't help.
He's only 22 now, so he must have been.
Yeah,
he must have been 18, wasn't he?
He was another one of these young players that had a real, high expectation of him, but just moved around quite a lot and went from West Brom, I think, West Brom's academy, to overseas. And I'm trying to remember, was it Barcelona?
Barcelona, I think, wasn't it?
And then back to Villa, and then a series of loan moves, including to us. And he came into that Ipswich team at totally the wrong time, didn't he? It was kind of like Mas Luongo when he joined under Paul Jewell, like just a dysfunctional team and chucking a youngster in at that point. Did he win us a penalty at Burton? I think that's probably about it.
Yeah, we missed it. Good times.
Yeah, we missed it. The other guy that I liked,
the other guy,
Fraser.
Scott
Fraser, yeah. So I can pick him, folks, can't I? Yes, keep going, Seb.
Chiro Bene obviously has joined on loan from ourselves, and Alex Matos is a good signing. 20 years old, a loan from Chelsea defensive midfielder. So a real mix there of these kind of young players who I assume on Football Manager have half a star, but the potential is 5 stars, and they're hoping they will kind of progress and develop in the next few years. And then just players who've been around the block, have done it before. Ben Mee, Danny Ings, Mark McGuinness, Ben Godfrey, probably. They've all won promotion from this league to the Premier League. So it kind of reeks of a kind of half and half young players, half let's just go with some experienced bodies and see what we can do. There've been 11 departures. It's an inevitable consequence of not going up last year. They are heading into the last year of their parachute money. So Vinny Souza, who was epic last season, 13 million quid to Wolfsburg. Anil Ahmed Hodic. I think we were linked in before O'Shea arrived, weren't we?
Possibly, yeah.
I think he was on our list. He's gone for 6 million quid to Feyenoord, and fan favourite Kiefer Moore, fan favourite of ours rather, 2 million quid to Wrexham. We'll be bumping him to him again in November time. He started the season well. So they've done a bit of kind of moving players on for money. Kept hold of Gustavo Hamer. More on him later, because that's a bit of a coup. But the whole strategy seems a mess, and we've already discussed, is it the manager? Now we're discussing, is it the transfers? To quote our esteemed colleague, Mr. Diamond, at the moment, certainly it's a bit of both. And I think it's going to sound like David Brent, a massive pie. This is all different slices that are contributing to the major problem. I would suggest the strategy for recruitment is definitely unclear.
I'm in charge of the whole part, the fruit that, and Joe, we're not knocking, don't knock Football Manager, he says, Joe says. That's not Joe Fairs for listening on podcast, different Joe, but yeah, Seb and I, very much waste a lot of time on Football Manager. So also on that, Joe's the researcher for Ipswich Town for Football Manager, so we would definitely be speaking to him ahead of the release of the new game, one way or the other on the podcast. Do you want to talk about Ogbeni very quickly?
Just very quickly, were you surprised we didn't put a recall clause in there? Obviously, we was trying to get him back up to speed. The issues with Wes Burns' injury and Amari Hutchinson's refusal to play meant he probably played more in the first 3 or 4 games than we intended him to. Are you surprised we've loaned him to, firstly, a possible rival, and secondly, there's no break clause in case he tears it up and that comes back to bite us a little bit?
Yeah, maybe. I suspect abundance of riches there for us, isn't there? We've got McAteer, Burns to come back, Agelli. And if you wanted to, you could shove someone out, a Clark over there for pillaging if you wanted to. So I kind of feel, if I was Ogbeni, I'd want a whole season of stability. Chaplin's a bit different, isn't he? But I think Ogbeni just needs, and it probably an acknowledgement that maybe Ogbeni isn't going to come in and start straight away, needs to get himself up to speed. So perhaps by the time you get to November, December, he's only just getting into the team perhaps and getting regular minutes, and then to just take him out of that situation, maybe disruptive. I don't know, but I think it's another situation where we are very much doing right more by the players' wishes and needs than maybe our own set. Maybe it'll come back to bite us. Hopefully not.
Tactical pad time. Should we discuss how they set up and what they're likely to do? So if you can share it on the screen. Last time out against Borough, it was a 4-3-3. Now Ruben Sellers has transitioned them. It was a 4-4-2 at the end of last season. And Gus Hamer, the player I mentioned a minute ago, who got in the PFA team of the season last year, was playing in that wide left role in the 4 across midfield. He's had to shift more inside, and I think that's having a real impact to the way they want to play. If we move it forward, as we always do, to the point where they receive the ball most, you will see it kind of resembles a bit of a 5-sidey peck. The defensive central midfielder drops deep between the 2 centre halves to help provide a defensive screen. O'Hare and Hamer comes narrowly infield, whereas last year he was doing a lot more of his work in this area where kind of Louis Barry is positioned. Andre Brooks, ex-Aston Villa, and Ben Godfrey provide the width down the right. As I said, Godfrey did leave the Middlesbrough left-back, whose name escapes me, in space, and he was able to play a simple through ball down the line for Tommy Conway to run onto and score. If we then move it forward to the average player positions, it kind of morphs more into a 4-3-3, I would suggest. O'Hare and Hamer are kind of more central. I'm not sure that's necessarily their best areas to influence the game. Hayden Burrows is an excellent player. He pushes right up here. I'd have happily signed him anytime in the last couple of years to replace Leif Davis if he had moved on. Louis Barry is kind of the most advanced player, along with Andre Brooks, and Tyrese Campbell, the central striker, is a little bit further back. I think, given the players they have signed on deadline day, I think we may well see them transition to a back 3. Sellers has kind of hinted to a formation change in his pre-match presser this morning, and I just don't understand why you go out and sign Godfrey. You've already got Tyler Binden there on loan from Forest, Tanganga, Ben Mee, Mark McGuinness. Why would you sign all those players and keep playing 2 at the back? For me, that doesn't seem to make much sense. Neil is spot on there. Yeah, Peck was really lucky. If he's in the Premier League, VAR sent him off 100% and he gets a 3-match ban. It was a nasty challenge high onto the Borough player's ankle, so he got away with one there.
Yeah. Do you want to highlight any of the tactical differences between Wilder and Sellers before we look at key men? We've talked obviously a lot about them, but do you want to give us maybe some of what Sellers has tried to implement? Maybe you can start to see the fruit of that over time, but there has been some pretty stark differences, haven't there, Seb?
Yeah, I've done some nerdy stuff. So I've looked at the key metrics under Wilder and then under Sellers. And the 2 things that have gone up under Ruben Sellers are possession. It's gone from 51% last year to 58% last year. That's the 3rd highest in the league, behind only us and Southampton. So that's up quite dramatically. Passing accuracy has gone up a tiny bit. So they're keeping the ball more and they're more accurate with their passes. The biggest increase is the short passes per game. They've gone from 376 short passes per game last year to 424. I'll be honest, I haven't watched enough of them to know if that's just stat padding, if that's just the back four passing it amongst themselves, but that is a noticeable increase. Long balls per game is about the same, but short passes per game has shot up massively, but all of their attacking metrics are down. Shots per game is down. Shots on target per game is down. Defensive stats have got worse. Shots conceded per game has gone up. Tackles per game has gone down. Interceptions has gone down. So they're keeping the ball more. They're more accurate with it. They're passing it a lot more, but they're blunt up front, and they're making mistakes and doing silly things at the back as well.
I wonder whether part of it is similar to what we've had to face. You concede a goal, and then you deal with a low block, and you have a lot of the ball. And I wonder whether that might be a factor, that they're similarly unable to break teams down and just resort to passing it around the back line, perhaps. Who knows? Do you want to draw attention to key players for us, Seb, that you'll
stick it up. So I've highlighted these 4 players here. So obviously Michael Cooper is a player that was very much kind of highly rated when he was at Plymouth. That year we went out and they won the league. There was rumors, should we sign him if we make that move up? He had an excellent season last year, hasn't got off to a good start so far this season. 67% save rate, but he is -2 in the goals prevented stats. So he needs to regain his form quickly. Harrison Burrows is a player I really like. As I said, I would have signed him anytime in the last couple of years had Leif Davis moved on. They signed him from Peterborough in the summer of 2024. He made the championship team of the season last year, 87 touches per game. So he will be ridiculously high levels of involvement. And he's the 7th highest player in the league for carrying the ball progressively up the pitch.
Sounds like Leif, doesn't he?
So far this season, yeah, he's basically a carbon copy. He'll play high and he will hurt with his excellent delivery. Callum O'Hare, I had to throw in a Coventry player for you. Signed on a free transfer last summer. Rumours he'd go to the Premier League. So I think there was a bit of surprise when he rocked up at Sheffield United. Did okay last year, 6 goals, 2 assists. Got 1 assist so far this season. Ruben Sellers at Reading liked to play a 4-2-2-2. So it was like 2 10s behind 2 strikers. I'd say he's ready-made for that role. And I'm not sure in the 4-3-3 necessarily get the best out of him. And Gus Hamer, the player who we all kind of thought would be definitely moving on in the summer. He didn't. 72 touches per game, will pop up all over the pitch, but predominantly will like to feature as much as he can in the attacking left-hand channel. But this formation does push him slightly more in field. He got 9 goals, 7 assists last season and made the championship team of last year. He is a big threat, even though he is slightly out of form and slightly out of position.
Nice one. Thank you, Seb. We know that unless someone's had a brain fart in our admin team, that Ogbene will not feature tomorrow or on Friday, depending on when you're listening. Who else is likely to be absent?
Tom Davis, ex-Everton, and Jamie Shackleton, ex-Leeds. They're due back in September, but it's more towards the end of September, I think. So I'm not sure either of them will feature. Ollie Alblaster's been out since November last year. He suffered a setback in training, so he won't feature. And the very brief played for both feature I've added in this season. We've already mentioned all the names. Ben Godfrey, 3 appearances last season. Louis Barry, 2 appearances in 21-22 under Paul Cook. And Mark McGuinness on loan from Arsenal in 2020, 2021. The COVID behind closed door season, he made 24 appearances at the heart of defence.
There you go. A lot of love for all your hard work there in the chat, Seb. You can have a 1-minute break while I tell everyone what's going on and start getting your thoughts in on lineups, changes to the team, any debutants you'd like to see on Friday nights. But firstly, again, we're supported by Atwells and One Stop Badges. Please do give their support if you need legal advice. If you've sworn on a podcast, or if you need some badges to give out to people and you're going to leave them in your car, Atwells, One Stop respectively are there for you on that one. We've mentioned Top Tier very briefly, plenty going on over there, ad-free content just to supplement your run of Blue Monday stuff for pretty much the entirety of the week. Blue Monday Rewind with Craig and Dave, going back through ITFC games gone in years gone by. A couple of Sheffield United games talked about there. Weekend preview with Henry and George will be out tomorrow morning, Friday morning. A slightly different take on the Friday night game. We'll have blogs throughout the week and certainly on Sunday as well. And then beyond the scoreline on Monday, a tactical analysis of the game with Adam and Oscar. And then, as always, free-to-air content still out there too. Flagship with the Holy Trinity on Sunday night. Ben, Dave and Joe back to talk about the Sheffield United game with a bit longer to react and hopefully positive emotions to discuss there, but plenty of breathing space between the end of the game and the flagship on Sunday. So do join us for that. We're hoping to have something exciting to talk about there as well if we can get things done. But otherwise, the conversation continues over on Telegram. Blue Monday, itfc.co.uk is our website. Links also in the description. Everything you need is there. So go and head over there. Next week as well, different face for the Blackburn pre-match. It will be Seb as usual, but I am out and about with work. So Ben's back in for that one. But do join us. Seb's here. That's all that matters. And you can embarrass Ben and his ITFC knowledge, although he'll probably be really good at it, won't he? Maybe
I give him free hits when he's on to make him look better than you. So I'll just
you send him in advance, don't you? Yeah, you just mug me off, don't you? Right, let's move it on and talk about Ipswich. What does Kieran McKenna do? You could have distilled these down to key positions, Seb, and who versus who. Do you want to start with right back then?
Yeah, so obviously Darnell Furlong, I think he was on the bench against Derby, wasn't he? So I think he just signed as we were pre-recording the Derby preview 2 weeks ago. So Darnell Furlong or Ashley Young at right back is my first discussion point. Midfield is going to be two out of Jens Kajust, Azor Matasiwa, and Marcelino Nunez is fit. He is ready. He is good to go, McKenna has said today in the pre-match presser. So which of the combination of those three start? Akpom in for Schmodic, I think, is probably a given. If Schmodic, I know McKenna said he's being assessed for tomorrow night, but I think Akpom might well get a start there. I think Jack Clark deserves a start down the left-hand side for having the balls to take that penalty against Derby. So I want Jack Clark in the left-hand channel. And then George Hurst or Ivan Azon up front. I've just got a feeling he might go with Azon, given he's been around for the last 2 weeks. George Hurst been away with Scotland, played a little bit against Denmark, didn't play against Belarus. Azon's been in the building for 2 weeks. I've just got a feeling he might get the nod, and Hurst is the player to come off the bench. So start with right back. Darnell Furlong or Ashley Young. I would keep Ashley Young personally.
I would do likewise.
Easy. Excellent. Central midfield, Kajust, Matasiwa, Nunez. Which combination two of the three? This is my prediction on the screen, not Rich's, by the way, so you can give me the grief for it.
Do you want to list it out for everyone listening as well, Seb?
Palmer. So some positions are obviously gimmies. Palmer in goal, yes. I've gone Ashley Young right back. O'Shea and Greaves will be the centre halves with Leif Davis left back. I think he'll stick with Matasiwa and Kajust as he did against Derby in central midfield. Do you disagree with either of them?
No, I agree with you because I think to remove them would be really harsh. I think Matasiwa had probably his best game, and Kajust just got us up the pitch, got us moving forwards. It took him a while. I got obviously some rough treatment from Lewis Travis, but I think was so influential. And Nunez hasn't played too much football in the last few weeks, still getting used to our style of play. But what a great player to bring off the bench.
Yeah, exactly. I think Casey McAteer is a shoe-in for the right-handed position. Obviously, Wes Burns is registered in the squad, but still way off it, so he won't be involved, obviously. And I think Igele's going to have to be patient. We're going to see cameos off the bench. I'd be astonished if he was to start tomorrow night. So Casey McAteer, for me, has that nailed down for tomorrow. Akpom, I've already suggested, will start in the 10 with doubts over Schmodic. Jack Clark, I want to see play in that left-hand channel. And I've just got this feeling, like I said, he will go for Ivan Azon up front as the central striker.
Right, well, I agree with you on Clark. I agree with you on Akpom. I agree with you on McAteer. So we're happy with that. Are we going with Ivan, by the way? We let us know in the chat. I think he's got Ivan on the back of his shirt, and you were going to go with Athon, but we were worried that you guys might not know who we were talking about. So production notes here.
Thanks for calling me out. Brilliant.
No, you said was doing it properly, and it's my correction so that we know who we're talking about. But if we go with Ivan, I think that helps us out. I just don't see how Hurst gets dropped. I know he's been away with international, Seb, but he's our number 9, isn't he? He knows the system well. Ivan was a bit raw, shall we say, when he came on. We do need to remember he's getting up to speed with the league, our style of play. So I think a great bench option. So I would disagree with you on Hurst, but pretty much everywhere else, I think we're in alignment, aren't we? Should we have
You agree that Jack Clark deserves to come in for Philogene?
Yeah, in part because of his balls of steel to take that pen. A really nice penalty, wasn't it? Really, we talked about his record, didn't we, in the flagship? But more that Philogene didn't have the best of days against Derby. And I think for that reason, McKenna's got to rotate until he finds one that can just fit the system. Clark and Davis isn't a great partnership, but neither's Philogene and Davis. So I don't think at the moment they're much of a muchness, frankly. So it's kind of
it was in pre-season though, wasn't it? Philogene and Davis in pre-season looked excellent. So I know Philogene was injured. It's a better quality of opposition, but it's strange they've not been able to kind of develop that and pick it up.
It might be a Derby situation. Derby might have figured out a strategy to play Philogene, but he certainly didn't have the best of days, as I say. And Clark, I'm so keen for it to happen for him. So that's partly in my thinking, but it wouldn't surprise me if McKenna reverts back to Philogene. So we're being miserly and talking that Nunez and who else is coming off the bench? Egeli's coming off the bench, yeah.
And you think Azon will come off the bench to replace Hurst, presumably at 70 minutes or something. I mean, the reception Nunez is going to get when he replaces Kiyus or Matisi, whatever, it's going to be absolutely brilliant. Hopefully, we're in a good position in the game in terms of the game state, and we can all enjoy it and really look to, it's live on Sky. I'm sure there'll be some chants coming out from the North Stand towards the Norwich people watching. So we'll see.
Do you want to address Rob's thought there? I've mentioned it in the past.
Yeah, I mean, you can play there. I guess the issue is if you start all three of them, then, well, no disrespect, but your midfield change options then are back to being Jack Taylor and Cameron Humphreys. No disrespect to those two players, but I think you'd probably always like one of Matisi, Kiyust, or Nunez to be the finisher. It's a high quality replacement for the high quality player you're bringing off. So I'd be surprised I'd be shocked if he started in the 10 tomorrow. I think there'll be times in the season when they are all on the pitch, but I think it might be towards the end of games when we're trying to kind of tighten up in that midfield area. I think Akpom probably deserves a start, and I think he'll start in the 10 tomorrow with Schmolic being a doubt.
Okay. We need goals as well, and Akpom certainly threatened a few times off the bench against Derby. Carl thinks Furlong comes in, that long throw is a bit of a weapon. Ashley Young set piece is a decent an assist last time out.
That was what I was thinking. Yeah, we've
faded as the game went on though, but
yeah, well, that's understandable given his age, I guess. Do you look to swap him out around 60 minutes or so with Furlong? I know changing your right back's probably not something you overly want to do unless you want to get on an attacking one if the game isn't going your way. But Ashley Young's set piece delivery could be a crucial weapon. We've bemoaned our set pieces for ages. Last time out, we finally get a goal from a set piece with his delivery, and I think he's that and also the on-field leadership. McKenna's spoken on the interview with Ashton on the pre-match presser today. There's a lot of new faces here and stuff, and just to have his experience, his leadership, his vocals at the back, I think that could be crucial.
Yep. Jordan McAteer starts for him. Egeli hasn't trained yet, doesn't know the tactics, pressing, team dynamics. Although Mike D here's going, we talked about balls out from Clark, haven't we? I'd love to see Philogene, Akpom, Egeli behind Azon. There you go. Blimey. Don't hold back, Mike. You never know. Who knows? And Jordan agrees with me that Azon also a bit raw.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
we're speculating, aren't we? Everyone's opinion.
Yeah, I'm just guessing because he's been here for 2 weeks, and I don't know. It's something in my head. He's been featured quite a lot on the pre-build-up media and stuff. So I've got a little thing in my head that I wouldn't be overly surprised if he were to start.
Yeah, Hamish going for Furlong. Paul P mentioning Hurst, bit hit and one hit in Birmingham and misses subsequently, but he feels like one of those players that gets a goal and suddenly the confidence and he goes on a run, hopefully.
But his game is about so much more than goal scoring.
It is.
We said how the stuff he gets out of the three behind him. Certainly in the first 6 months of the promotion season, his game is so much more than goal scoring. He's probably only designed to get you 8-10 goals a season. It's the stuff and the space he will create for those three behind him that's crucial to the way we play. Yeah,
get your predictions in as well. That's where we're going. We're going to finish with predictions, so please get those start coming in. We're getting lots of pronunciation on our new Loney striker from Como, which we'll leave in the chat for now. We will figure that out and we'll decide on as a podcast how we're going on that one. What else have we got? Yeah, Jens has got a long throw. Philogene has to start, says Neil. Yeah, a few bits and pieces there. I think the consensus is, I'm trying to find the comment now. Yeah, the universe doesn't care. We need 6 or 7 regular starters in the list, don't we? And then build from that. And I think we've got that. The back line is quite stable now, apart from the right back.
You could probably argue, couldn't you, apart from the right back, the back kind of 7, the keeper, the back 4, and those 2 in midfield are pretty much nailed on at the moment. It's the forward positions where we just need to work out the covalent bonds, to quote the great Harry from Bath.
There you go. Do you want to give us your predictions first before we dip into the chat, or do you want to see what people have to say first?
See what people have to say first.
All right. It's going to be blue tinted, Seb. I'm not going to lie to you. We're an Ipswich Town podcast after all. Philip's got in there first. He's going for a 3-1. Rob's going for a 2-1. Start of a winning run. Let's be positive. 3-0 says David W. David Bradley going for a 4-1. Adrian going for a 2-1. Jordan Head says 3-2 Town win. That'd be good, wouldn't it? Hart says don't care how we win as long as we do. We've got Colin going for a 2-0 on his return to the ground. George just going for a big win needed. Big win needed, however it happens. Mike D also going for a 3-2. Kiel, are you Norwegian, Kiel? I think let us know. 2-0. Can you give us some insider tracks on the Gelly? Hamish going for a 2-0. We've got another 3-2. That would be good, wouldn't it, for Sky? 0-0 says Stephen. 1-1 says Rob. 3-1 for Paul. Yes, there's a good cluster of Ipswich Town victories in there, Seb. Are you feeling positive?
And here comes Seb to ruin the mood. I don't know why. I have a feeling this is going to be a 1-1 draw. And all the data I've given you about them not having a shot on target away from home and Sellers being under pressure, I've just got a feeling he's going to revert to a back three, and I've got a feeling they're going to be frustrating. We're still gelling, and I'm not entirely sure this will be the weekend that we get the first win of the season. I think scoring the first goal is crucial on tomorrow night. I think if they score it and they have gone to a back three, they've got something to scrap for and fight for. Whereas if we can get it, I think they will probably fall apart because of the frailness of their confidence and stuff like that. So the first goal is absolutely crucial, but Hart 1-1. Sorry, Hart 2-1 win for Town. Head 1-1 draw.
Oh, there you go. Well, Carl's gone for a 3-0. And then Neil's gone for a 4-1, and then the Universe Doesn't Care has gone for a 4-1, and Alex has gone for a 5-0. So does that nudge your positivity?
Well, don't forget, everyone, based on, was it 2 successive years of our predictions feature, I am awful at predictions. So that should be the comfort you all need to take.
There you go. Well, there you go. We've both come in for some rough attention in the chat tonight. Thank you, everyone. We're happy to receive feedback when it's constructively posed to us. I think this comment from Mabby13 probably sums it up, Seb, for me. Either a scrappy draw that they will not want to lose away from home, put this kind of losing streak to bed, but that will not probably bring out the best of them. So it's either going to be a scrappy draw, or I agree, we'll score first, to your point. And then I think Portman Road gets behind the team. Everyone wants to get a goal, and Sheffield United fans on the backs, it all becomes a bit negative. But it could really go any way, which is a bit frustrating, given we need to start winning some matches. But it's going to be a real interesting one. So, yeah.
What's your prediction? You're not giving it to us yet, have you?
Well, I'm copying Mabby's.
Okay.
I'm going with that one. I'll go for a crappy 1-1, another one for us, or a 3-1. Oh, no, I don't like that.
I like the fact that absolutely nobody, I think maybe 2 in the chat, are predicting a clean sheet. Clean sheets are just something we don't do anymore, aren't they? We all just assume it's going to be 4-2, 3-2, 2-1, etc. The days of the clean sheets are long gone.
There you go. A lot of love in the chat for you on that prediction, Seb. Quite rightly so. Stock it to him, folks. Rob, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. The chat has been really lively. Hope you've enjoyed it. We've definitely added a bit more of a dimension in terms of embarrassing each other with predictions or quizzes and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully you've enjoyed that, and we've taken you down memory lane a little bit. Do watch Blue Monday Rewind, really good for that. But back Sunday night for the flagship to talk about the game after the fact. If you could give us a thumbs up before you depart, or a subscribe, we really appreciate that. Thank you to everyone who got involved in our giveaway and nudged us over the 6K threshold on our YouTube subscribers. But we do appreciate everyone out in podcast land as well. We had a really good run in the top 200 of all sports podcasts in the country on Apple a week or so ago. So thank you, everyone who's been listening. We really appreciate you. So thank you for that. And I'm trying to remember, Seb, who's saying goodbye, who's signing us out. Is it me? Well, I'll let you say some words then.
Yeah, thank you everybody for watching. Blackburn next week, so we'll be back this time next week, me and Ben instead. Portman Road under the light games are epic, let's be honest. If you live far away like me and you can't get to the Tuesday, Wednesday nights, it sucks. So I cannot wait. Tomorrow is my first trip to Portman Road, so really looking forward to it. Come and see us in the Greyhound pre-match if you are about. And despite the negativity of me predicting a stupid draw, let's hope the team can do the business and we can get the season up and running. Thanks for hosting, mate, and you can take us out because you did it for Derby, didn't you? And we drew, so I guess you have to keep it going. We'll go for it. Yeah, thank you everyone once again. Great to have you all in the chat, and yeah, join Seb next week for Blackburn with Ben. I'll be up for Blackburn though. It's my first time ever at Ewood Park, so I'm really excited about that. I'll be listening to the pre-match show on my way up, so really excited for that. But yeah,
Sheffield United first. Let's get the win, however it happens. Get right behind the team as well. Let's stay positive, get right behind them. And hopefully, as I say, we've got some excitement to talk about on Sunday. Thank you everyone again for joining. And come on, you Blues!